It's spring 2023 in the Smokies, and we're in western North Carolina at the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad depot off of Everett Street in Bryson City, North Carolina. Front and center is Great Smoky Mountain Railroad 1702, an S-160 class 280 Consolidation type oil-fired steam locomotive. Built in mid-September of 1942 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works just outside of Eddystone, Pennsylvania during World War II for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, 1702 was stationed at Fort Bragg. But her life was short, as after the war ended she was sold to the Warren Saline River Railroad in Warren, Arkansas in 1946. After the dieselization of the W&SRR, 1702 was sold in 1964 to the Reeder Railroad just outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and was upgraded with a larger tender, eventually serving as a tourist locomotive after retiring from Revenue's freight service. When she was first built, 1702 actually had buffers and chain couplers, as seen in Europe, given the plan was to send her overseas during World War II. Since that never happened, they were replaced with knuckle couplers for American railroad use. In 1985, her time came to be sold again, this time to the Fremont and Elkhorn Valley Railroad in Fremont, Nebraska, where she ran tourist trains for them too. But that didn't last long, as in 1991, number 1702 was finally purchased by the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad and brought to her new home to get outfitted with a taller stack, larger cab, and a larger SAM dome, eventually serviced to be used on their tourist operations from then on out. The Great Smoky Mountain Railroad currently operates 1702 and its Nantahala Excursion and Tuckasegee River Excursion trains on the former Southern Railway Murphy branch, which expands about 53 miles between Dillsboro, North Carolina and Nantahala, North Carolina, with the rest of the line to Murphy being out of service, but not yet forgotten. Originally, it expanded even further south, about 48 miles via the Marietta and North Georgia Railroad to Mineral Bluff, Georgia, and eventually Atlanta, Georgia around the late 1880s. But once the L&N acquired the line, they abandoned it in the late 1970s, and the Southern Railways sold their line in the 1980s to the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad. Steep grades and sharp curves, 1702 has a challenge ahead of her on today's Nantahala Gorge excursion, With 30 miles of track ahead of her, we'll see her chugging and crawling up the grades, giving it her all, with views and sights of wonder to accompany us. In 2005, 1702 had to be taken off the main line due to firebox issues and eventually ended up in pieces outside of GSMR's Dillsboro workshop. But in April of 2012, Swain County, North Carolina donated about $700,000 to help build a new steam shop in Dillsboro, as well as a turntable in Bryson City to have the 1702 restored to her former glory. Years later, and hours of hard work, in the summer of 2016, GSMR 1702 was once again alive and free, running train excursions up to this day today. With 2 toots of the whistle and passengers boarded, 1702 announces her departure for the trip to Nantahala out of Bryson City. First up on the chase is the popular viewpoint of a fantastic angle at the 1800s built 426-foot-long steel trestle over the Tuckasegee River just south of downtown Bryson City. Around the corner, coming out of the Bryson City Horseshoe Curve, 1702 is pulling hard up the steep grades out of the city. Further south along the line, we catch 1702 in the distance, crossing another massive bridge. This is the Lake Fontana Trestle that spans about 762 feet across the lake. After waiting a few minutes, 1702 chugs on by at track speed past one of my favorite spots, Almond, North Carolina, right at the old Almond Depot. Here we see 1702 climbing a hill up into Wesser, North Carolina, where the Nantahala Outdoor Center is, a stop on the way back for the train before heading back to Bryson City later. I did misspell Wesser. It is spelled W-E-S-S-E-R. I do apologize for that.
She doesn't stop on the first one. She stops when they come back. So somebody heads by a river.
Thank you, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. This is where we'll have to end the chase of 1702, as the diesels will take over once they reach Nantahala, North Carolina in a few miles right at the foot of Topton Grade, the steepest grade on the route between Murphy, North Carolina and Dillsboro, North Carolina. This was At the Tower, and we'll see you next time by the ties and steel rails for another great railroad chase.